Testimony today in the Sean Diddy Combs trial, now in its fourth week. A forensic video expert took the stand today, called to testify about the video showing Combs' alleged attack on Cassie Ventura. So jurors also heard from another witness, a friend of Ventura's, who talked about when she saw Ventura and Combs. CBS News legal reporter Katrina Kaufman is outside the Manhattan Federal Courthouse to take us through today's testimony. Katrina.
Great to join you. So yes, first we heard from this forensic video expert today, and he was talking about the security footage from the Intercontinental Hotel, which many people have seen right now. It captured Sean Combs attacking Cassie Ventura, his girlfriend at the time. And the point of this expert is he said that this is an accurate depiction of what happened in that footage. We learned yesterday from a witness that that footage, the security footage, was sold to Sean Combs for $100,000 by a security officer who worked for the Intercontinental Hotel at that time. So there have been some issues with the footage. There's time code issues. There are parts where it's pixelated, and the defense has been trying to argue against the veracity of how it's depicted. So the jury also was shown that video over and over again while this forensic expert was on the stand, which shows Sean Combs kicking, knocking down Cassie Ventura and dragging her down a hallway. I noticed him look over at them a number of times as this was replayed again and again in the courtroom. Then we heard from Brianna Bongalin. This is a close friend of Cassie Ventura's. She spent time with her and Sean Combs when they were together during the time period of these allegations, and she's filed her own civil lawsuit against Sean Combs. She says that Combs once dangled her over a 17th-story balcony. And she told this story in court about how he came into Cassie's apartment one night. This is something that he would do. She stayed over there a lot, and she was on the balcony. He lifted her up, she said. Her feet were on the railing at the time, and she was pushing back against him. And then he ultimately threw her on the patio furniture. We also saw photos of her really horrific bruises from that incident that she says she was too scared to report. She also told a story about a time when she alleges Sean Combs again came into Cassie's apartment late in the night and threw a knife at her, and then Ventura threw the knife back. She testified that Combs then left the apartment. So we're hearing all of these allegations of more violence and abusive behavior. However, there was also a lengthy cross of her today, and Sean Combs' defense attorney is really working to undermine her testimony. She kept displaying different versions of the events, what she told us on the stand versus what she said in other meetings with the government, in demand letters, even in her civil lawsuit and Ventura's lawsuit. So she's really trying to undermine these stories that the jury is hearing about Combs.
So, Katrina, the prosecution is laying out really two cases, the RICO case, sex trafficking cases as well. So it's looking like a tough case to prosecute.
I mean, RICO cases are always complex. They're very layered. There are a lot of elements that the prosecution has to prove. They have to show that at Sean Combs' direction, there was an agreement among people who were working at his company to commit certain criminal activity, at least two of the underlying acts. And some of those that are alleged in the indictment are kidnapping, arson, bribery, obstruction of justice. So things that we've been hearing testimony about in court. But there is a lot for the prosecution to prove here. It's very complicated, and we're really just seeing the groundwork over these weeks of testimony and through all these witnesses. For sex trafficking, they also have to show that there was force, fraud, and coercion. And then, of course, there's the transportation for the purpose of prostitution charge. That is the clearest cut one, and it really seems like they have a strong case there. We've seen evidence of escorts being brought to different states and places for the purpose of engaging in these sexual freak-offs with Combs and Ventura. But there are still about 4 more weeks at least of this trial, so there's more time for the prosecution to really weave all this together with the witness testimony that we're going to hear.
All right, Katrina Kaufman in New York City. Thank you.